Hi everyone, Coach Elizna here. Today's video I'll be taking you through 3 important things you need to know about the pelvic floor. Now this video is especially for you if you've ever struggled to cough and sneeze and you can't control the bladder. Now this has happened to most of us and it's often very embarrassing, but it's actually very normal. Let me explain why. So if you think of your core and your core stability, think of a cylinder or a can. So picture a can of Coke. Our diaphragm at the top is formed and shaped like this. Now if we breathe air into our lungs, the lungs expand and therefore your diaphragm should move down to leave space for the air to go into the lungs because the lungs take up more space. Now if your diaphragm moves down, can you see that it squeezes the cylinder and creates more pressure? Now more pressure is often why we can't control the bladder, because that cylinder has more pressure inside. So therefore oftentimes when we cough and when we sneeze and the pressure is increased in your Coke can, you can't control your bladder function. So we have to practice to be able to hold our bladder up while we breathe, while we talk, while we cough and sneeze, so that we don't get any leaking or malfunctions of the bladder. So let's go through that. Right, so take a seat and then use your hands and place them under your bum. So left and right under the bum and move around till you can feel your 2 sitting bones. Now imagine the front of your pelvis is the front of a hammock. The back, where your sacrum is situated, is the back of your hammock. So if your hammock looks like this, the front is your pubic bone, the back is your sacrum. And then at the sides, you've got your 2 sitting bones. Now picture this hammock and imagine you want to draw that hammock up. So you can even keep your hands underneath your bum just to give yourself a little bit more input, and then draw up your hammock so you are pulling your hammock away from the floor. So you are doing this with your hammock, right? Pulling it up. Now try to keep it there while you breathe, while you talk. You shouldn't be clenching the jaw, right? Now if you can do this and it's very easy, we will move on to step 2 and 3. You should be able to hold your hammock up while doing functional movements. The important thing and why we still should be able to breathe is because as you're pulling your hammock up and you're increasing the pressure in your cylinder, you breathe, you cough, or you sneeze, or you do any form of movement, you should be able to keep the hammock where it is and not let it relax down, not to control it and lose bowel or bladder function. Right, so that is step 1. You can practice that a few times, drawing up and in on your hammock, keeping it there, being able to breathe in through your belly without losing your hammock, right? You should be able to look around, move around, and breathe. Practice this until you get better at it, and then incorporate part 2 and 3 where you want to do a functional movement. So the first thing we're going to do for the functional movements is a regular glute bridge. In the glute bridge, you want to be able to control the hammock, keep it there, and breathe. Let me show you. Right, so lie down in your normal glute bridge position, and then I first want you to practice the hammock. So draw in your hammock, but it really helps if you first tilt your pelvis backwards, so flatten your back against the floor. Now draw in your hammock, picture that hammock, draw it in, keep it there, and then go into your glute bridge. So go into your glute bridge. Then you should be able to hold the hammock there while you breathe in through the belly and out, in and out, and move slowly down. So I'm going to repeat that. Flatten your back against the floor, draw in your hammock, now lift up into a normal glute bridge. You should be able to breathe in through the abdomen, letting that diaphragm move down, but the hammock is still drawn in and out and move down. Right, our final step is to do a functional movement like a squat while being able to control your hammock. So put your legs hip width apart. You're going to go into a regular squat. So squat down with the bum back, and as you come up, I want you to draw in the hammock. Good, you should be able to breathe and it shouldn't feel forced. So let's try that again. Normal squat down and then hammock as you're coming up. So you're drawing the hammock up. It really helps if you use your breath as well. So inhale as you go down, and as you exhale, you can do a bit of a posterior pelvic tilt. So tucking in that bum, drawing that hammock up makes it much easier. So regular squat down, inhale, then exhale, draw in the hammock. Inhale down, open up the chest, and exhale, hammock up. I hope that helps. If you practice these 3 things, so first drawing up the hammock, secondly a glute bridge with the hammock, and thirdly a squat or a functional movement with the hammock, I can promise you your pelvic strength and your pelvic floor control will improve tremendously. Enjoy!